Okay, guys, we are live. So, welcome. We're going to do a little fly tying. Let me adjust the camera so you can see that. All right, so we got the vise set up, but a couple more things we're going to set up really quick. Oh, you can see Issa in the background. That's her right here. She's a good dog and she's going to hang out with us tonight. So, first things first, let's go ahead, start a fire, and get this vibe going. Go. Kindling pieces. Go. Ooh, last match right there. There we go. Look at that. All set. And now one last thing to get ourselves situated. Ooh, running low on supplies. Here we go. All right, and then I'll show you guys the fly tying setup for tonight. But first, first things first. All right, everybody. Welcome. Never done a live stream in my life. This is the first time ever. Not on social media, not on YouTube, nowhere. So thank you guys. If you're here with me, you rock. Cheers to you. That's a good sound. Yum. Okay, so spring is officially here. It's end of March, and it's not going to be long before we're in April. Currently, we have the squala fly hatch going on, but the temperature was super warm, beautiful, sunny, and now it's PNW spring again, and the rain is returning. Temperatures are dropping a little bit, not too much. And so the squala fly hatch might kind of slow down. So to gear up for the next hatch, we're gonna do a little fly tying tonight for the March brown. So I got out some materials. So let me kind of show you what we're gonna be using tonight. So for hook size, you can do 12, 14, or 16. 12 would be on the large size, and 16 would be on the small size for a March brown. So we're going to tie them in that size. And we're going to use some dry hackle. So this is kind of a brownish dry hackle we'll use. And I also have some grizzly hackle to use as well. So maybe we'll tie a couple color variations tonight. And with the color variations, we're going to use a little bit of dubbing as well. So I have a light brown, a gray, and then this one has, it's like a olivey brown with some flash in there. So that is the dubbing we'll be using. To help the dubbing stick, we're going to use a little dubbing wax to help it stick on the line, on the thread. So for the thread, speaking of the thread, we're going to use a rust brown color, 6/0 uni thread. And I recommend a rust brown or a light brown or orange, something in that color profile. In terms of the tail, for the tail, we're going to use a little bit of this brown Antron. You don't have to use a dark brown. That's just the only color that I had in this. So you can kind of go a light brown. You can use feathers. You could also use elk or deer fur as well. And then I want to get a little creative with our March brown and use a little bit of this poly floating yarn to tie the post, just for a little visibility, because I have a really hard time seeing these teeny tiny little dry flies out there. And so I just want to, I've never done it before with this particular fly, but I'm going to put a post on there with this. And then in terms of tools, you've got your vise, and you don't need much, honestly. I mean, really, you just need your bobbin for the thread, and I'm going to use a whip finishing tool and some scissors, and I always pinch my barbs beforehand, so that's what that's for. And that's pretty much everything I'm going to be using tonight to tie this up. So there you have it. So as people are kind of trickling in, just want to do another quick intro. So my name is Tori. I'm Fungi on the Fly, and my channel is really all about fishing, mushroom foraging, backpacking. One of my favorite things is going up into the alpine lakes and the high mountain lakes and backpacking in there, fishing those high mountain lakes, and also foraging for mushrooms. That's probably like one of my highlights. But you know, I got a whole bunch of stuff mixed in this channel. There's a little bit of everything. Pack rafting, shed hunting. You could see great big elk shed in the background here. And you guys, I've been struggling with the sheds this year. I've gone out like, I don't know, I think 5 times now. At least 10 miles every time I go out, and I haven't found a shed yet this year. So don't know what the deal is, and the last time my knee was killing me. Oh, look, who's coming to say hi? Issa is. All right, go back to your bed. Go back, get a treat. Go up, up. Good girl. All right, so anyways, that's the deal with shed hunting. Kind of hurt my knee the last time I was out, so I haven't been doing that yet again since. So let's get into fly tying. We got the dog in the background. I want to get it so you can see the vise here. All right, try to get it to focus there. Let's see what we got. Okay. Close that. All right. There we go. Nice. Pretty good. Let me know if I need to adjust that at all. Okay, so we're gonna start Let's start with a big one to make it easier to see. So I'll start with a size 12 hook. So here we go, getting our hook out. There it is. And I'm gonna pinch the barb. I always fish barbless, pretty much no matter what. So I just pinch it right away and it's good. All right, so this is a Renzetti Traveler vise, but any old vise will do. All right, put it in. You can hear the nice sound that it's in there good and tight. And I'm gonna get my thread started on this one. So start at the little bit below the eye, get our thread wrap started, cut off the tail. Okay, so I think on this one, I'm gonna start with the post first. So I'm gonna pull out this high vis poly yarn and we're gonna cut off a little piece. Let me get it situated. There we go. So just gonna cut off like an inch or two of that. Don't wanna waste too much material. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find the center point, roughly. It's okay if it's not perfect. And I'm gonna go ahead and put that so that it folds on itself on the fly line, or on the thread, I mean. And I want this to be roughly midway or a little towards the eye of the hook when I get it on there. So I'm gonna start with a couple of wraps and then go in front of and behind. So get it behind. There we go. In front of a couple wraps, behind a couple wraps. Okay. And then if you need to kind of work up towards it. So now, see how it's kind of fanning out like that in two? We want it to stick together and be standing straight up and down. So this is where I'm going to take my thread and wrap it real tightly all the way up. Here we go. And start off loose, and then you can get tighter as you go. But just to make it easy on yourself, if you start off too tight at the beginning, I find that it's kind of gets a little unwieldy, if that's a word. All right, see how it's starting to stand up better? That's what we want. So now I'm going to kind of work that thread back down with a little more tension, trying to keep it in place. There we go. Can go back up it again and back down it again. And then we're going to work our way down to the hook, to the base. Here we go. And that's when we're going to finish it off with a couple more wraps behind it and in front of it. Just like that. Boom. And now we can just go ahead and take our scissors and cut off the top. We can always cut it a little shorter later if we need to, but you can already see, even with a multi-color background of myself, that this is already very visible. So here, I'll hold something up to it so you can kind of see. There you go. All right, so the next step we're gonna do is the tail. So we're gonna pull out your tail material. For me, I'm using this Antron, a dark brown Antron. And again, for you, you can use, for the tail, a whole bunch of anything, all right? You could use deer fur, elk fur, or feather bits, whatever. So we're gonna pull off another, this is kind of messed up towards the tip, so let me just cut off the yucky part and throw that out. And then I only need about an inch of this. So there's the camera. There's our Antron. Bethy says, hello. Hello, Bethy. How fun. That's the first time I've seen a little comment on there. Super cool. All right, so we're gonna tie the tail in. So we'll give a couple thread wraps down the shank of the hook. So that has something to stick on to. And now we're gonna tie that in there. And work your thread down towards the back. There you go. And then give it some tight wraps moving forward. Excellent. Great. And that is a super duper way too long tail. If you can see, super long. We're gonna trim some of that. So here we are, trimming our tail down. There you go. And you want, this is a pretty long hook, so you don't want the tail to be too long. So about as long as the shank of the hook is. Excellent. Okay, the next step we're gonna do is we're gonna tie in our hackle feather. So we're gonna work our line forward. So let's use some of this brown one, huh? So we're gonna select a feather, pull this thing out of the package. There we go. And this is not really like a pro grade hackle, but there's plenty of great feathers in here. So this is a good way to save a little bit of money if you don't necessarily need a pro grade hackle. And you're gonna try to select a feather that the little like quills on the feather or barbules on the feather are about the length that you want for the fly, the hook size that you have. So we're using a 12, which is kind of big. So I'm gonna pick a little bit of a bigger feather, like this one. Pluck it right out. And we're going to go all the way up to the part that's the thickest, and we're just gonna cut off that little bit. Great. And to tie it in, I'm actually going to, you can see its little quills. Beth, hello. Elizabeth Garrison, hi, good to see you. Thanks for commenting. So we're gonna actually trim off a few of these parallel to its center point, and that's gonna give us, it's gonna help tie in. So make it a little easier to see. I know this isn't a great background or great lighting, but thanks for working with me on this, guys. All right, so I see we've got some new people joining in. We're tying the March Brown. Feel free to hang out, crack a beer, tie along. And, you know, maybe I'll do this more regularly. We can have a little fly tying session and whatnot, whatever you guys think. I don't know. So let's tie in our hackle. So I'm towards the eye of the hook now, a little bit below the eye. We don't want to crowd the eye, as they say. And now I'm just going to tie this feather in for later use. Okay, so that's tied in. Now I'm going to kind of just move it out of the way to work my thread back to do some of the dubbing. Okay, so work around your post and work around your feather. We're coming towards the rear of the hook again. Okay. And now what we're gonna do, now that we're back there, we're gonna get out our dubbing and our dubbing wax. So a teeny bit goes a long way. So less is more when it comes to the dubbing. And I mean a lot less. So we're gonna start with this nice light brown, super fine dubbing. just gonna pull out a teeny little wisp of dubbing. I'm gonna take my wax and just a little bit, it's kind of like chapstick. I'm gonna put a little bit of this wax on the line that's hanging down out of the bobbin. And that's just gonna help this fine dubbing stick to the line and make it easier for you to twist. So we have our fine dubbing on there. And now see, it just kind of naturally sticks to the thread. And I'm gonna use my index finger and thumb to twist it on the line. There it is. And now it's a little noodle, as they say. You can slide it up towards the fly if it's too far down. And now we're going to start at the back and work our way towards the eye, making the body of the fly. Ooh. Keep your post out of it. Might have to kind of use your other fingers to tweeze it out of there. And now we're going to work our way up to in front of the post. And if you run out of dubbing, I'm actually going to go behind it one more time and then in front of it one more time. Excellent. And that was the perfect amount of dubbing. But if you need to add more, no big deal. Just start over, use a little dubbing wax, a tiny little bit of dubbing, twist it on there, and keep going until you've made the body of your fly. Okay, so now we're gonna do the dry hackle. Let's see if I can give you a little background here to see. Hold it up there for you guys a little closer. Who is that hot woman that's sometimes in your videos? That wasn't my wife that just posted that. It was. All right, so here's that fly. You can see it. Here's it with the dark background. All right, so you see we've got the dubbing body on there, the tail and the post. Now we're gonna finish off with the dry hackle. Okay, so first things is move your thread towards the front so that it's a little out of the way. And now what we're gonna do with our hackle is we're going to reverse wrap it. So just the opposite way that you were doing the thread. So the thread I was doing this way, the feather I'm gonna go this way. It's not the end of the world if you don't do that. It will just help the thread attach to it better when we tie it off. And I'm just gonna go, we're gonna do this one. It's like a vertical, so there's a couple ways. I love these little comments that are popping up. Thank you guys for commenting, that's fun. All right, so on this one, there's two ways you can do this dry hackle, okay? So a typical parachute Haddams is you actually do the hackle this way up the post, but in this March Brown, a more traditional way, or a Catskill way, I think is the way that it's said, is it's like a vertical way. So it's going towards the eye of the hook. I'll show you, it'll make sense here when you see it. So we're gonna give it some wraps. Okay, now it's time to tie it off. So I'm just gonna kind of hold this feather up in the air like this and use my thread to wrap around it. I start off kind of loose while I'm just getting everything under control, pulling down a little bit to give it some tightness. But once I've got like 3 thread wraps on there and it's a little more secure, I'm really gonna crank down on it. So I can now pretty close to safely let go of this feather like that. And now I can really, I want it tight. So I'm just gonna go as tight as I can without breaking the thread. And if you break the thread, it happens. You just kind of start over, no big deal. Cheers. All right, so we are almost ready to finish our first fly. And if you guys are tuning in just now, don't worry, we're gonna tie another one. And I'll give you guys some channel updates and everything too. All right, so now we're ready to cut this extra off, and we can still use this. This is a really long feather, so we're gonna use it for the next fly. So we're gonna cut it off close towards the thread without breaking the thread. Boom, save this for later. And now we're just gonna finish off with a few more thread wraps at the eye to really lock it down. And I'm even going to use just a teeny dab of, actually I'll use head cement. Right after we whip finish it, I'm just gonna use a tiny, tiny, tiny drop of head cement just to really lock it down. Okay, so whip finishing tool. So many of you probably already know how to use this, but just a super quick tutorial on this guy, if you don't, is, okay, so you're going to hold it in your hand like you're throwing a Frisbee, okay? So this little hooky part is gonna face away from you. So here's how it is, and I'm gonna just rotate it so it's away. So I'm going to hook my thread with this bit that's away from me, okay? So just like that, I've hooked onto it. I'm going to wrap that thread around this part. Yeah, this is harder to explain. And just watch a different tutorial video on how to whip finish. I'll try to teach you guys that better another time. We're gonna give it 4 wraps, just like that. And that's it. So we're gonna cut off that thread towards the base, cut out these couple of little wispy feathers that are in the way, and now a teeny tiny dab of head cement. I don't wanna put a lot because it'll kind of weigh the fly down and make it sink. So just a teeny bit just to lock it down. There it is. Okay, and now we will show you guys this fly. This is not gonna look professional to sell in a shop by my tying standards, but this is gonna catch fish, okay? Guaranteed. So let me show you guys this thing. We'll let it out of the vise. And I'll bring it up to the camera and show you guys. I'll hold it right here from the hook. And we'll use a little background so you can kind of see the color for this. All right, here's our March brown with a high visibility post. So I'll try to get it to focus, kind of. Here's with the darker background. So, there we go. So this fly is a dry fly pattern. This fly is gonna work well when the trout are surface feeding, and this hatch should be taking place in most western rivers here in April, okay? So we're almost to the end of March right now. So once we get a little bit warmer temperatures and the squallas kind of phase out, the next big hatch is gonna be the March brown, okay? And it's a big mayfly, and trout go bananas for mayflies. Absolutely, and this is a big mayfly, okay? The only other big mayflies like this are like the drakes. Green drake, brown drake, all the different drakes, okay? And you can even use this when it's the drake hatch later, like way later in summer. You can use this fly for that too. So it's a win-win pattern. And that's why I kind of like to try tying this in some different sizes and some different colors, which essentially just makes it a new fly when you do that. Like, oh, now it's a blue wing olive, or now it's whatever Baetis. So this is the March brown, and we're gonna tie a couple more of these. But before I tie the next one, I wanna give you guys a little channel update. So let me adjust the camera height just a skosh here. So we're looking at each other there. Wet the whistle. Channel update, you guys, is, oh, my mom's on here. I love it. Thank you for all the support. So, channel update, you guys. I got the heat press, I got the transfers, and I got the shirts. And so it is shirt making time. So Fungi on the Fly merch is so soon. I'm not gonna give you an official date yet because I'm still working all that back end stuff out. Oh my God, Log says, I can't wait to rock your logo. Way to go, Log. I appreciate you for that. Thank you. And I'm super excited about it, you guys. So I'm going to be keeping you up to date and posting little like reels and clips of the production process of that to kind of build that hype. I know I'm super excited about it. It looks really good because that merch sale is going to be happening soon. Hats are going to be a little bit longer out because I can't make that one in-house. I'm outsourcing the hat making. But I'll keep you guys posted. Ooh, Jace wants a crop top. Yes, buddy. Exciting. So, I don't know about the crop top, but you know what? You can always alter the shirt however you want. Crop top, tank top, rip sleeves. Go for it. YOLO, live your life. So, I'm going to be updating you guys on that because there's some really exciting stuff in the works. And that date is going to be super close. I will let you know ahead of time so that you can put it in your calendars and get ready. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Who's ready to go ahead and tie another fly? Oh my God. You guys, look at this. While I wasn't looking, the fire has totally gone out. It's not even really that cold, but just for the vibe, I feel like, we have to have a little fire going. Don't you think, Isabu? All right, so let's get that going real quick and we'll tie another fly together. Yeah. There we go. Oh, there it goes. Come on. Almost. There it goes. Boom. Fire reactivated. All right, you guys. Again, I just want to say I appreciate you guys hanging out with me here. So we've already been live for like 30 minutes. I'll keep tying flies, a couple more flies until we kind of fizzle out. So maybe another, fire ASMR, yes. So we'll keep tying flies for a little bit more. And then if you guys are into it, maybe we'll do this again in the future. Let me know, or if you want to see something else, we can do a different live thing at some point. But I want to incorporate a little bit more, a little bit more of this live stuff. So here we go. So that was the size 12. Let's go down a size. We're going to go with a size 14 hook now. So just a smidge smaller now that we're getting the hang of this. And I love that you guys are in the comments just razzing each other and razzing me too. I think that's fun. Oh, I got 2 hooks for the price of 1 here. Here we go. So, size 14 hook, pinch the barb. Boom. Put her in the vise, just like that. And I'm excited. Some of you that are on here watching right now actually have trips planned with. So I'm excited. Let me know what kind of trips you guys that I don't have planned trips with, what kind of trips you guys have coming up. And if you happen to be excited to see any kind of comment. Am I taking any of these flies to Montana? Well, maybe. This might not be the right fly that time of year. I might want a lighter color fly. So maybe on this next one, I'll tie one with a little bit lighter dubbing color for that time of year. What kind of flies should we plan for Montana? I think in July, we're talking about July, it's probably going to be a yellow Sally hatch. Yellow Sally time. And so some smaller stone flies in a yellow pattern with just a little pop of orange color, a teeny pop of red sometimes would be really good. Also hoppers Some like grasshoppers that time of year could also be a really good thing. Okay, I like that. I like the way that visibility post looks. So I'm gonna tie another one with the high vis post. So we're gonna cut off a little bit of this high vis poly yarn. I have no fly fishing trips. Wish I was cool. Oh my gosh, let's plan one. You are cool, also. You are beautiful in your own special way. All right, so we're tying on our high vis post right now. Wrapped it around our thread. We're close to midway, slightly forward of midway up the shank of the hook. We're gonna put our thread wraps in front of and behind this post. A couple more times, and then we're going to get our thread wraps to go all the way, not all the way up the post, but a little way up the post so that it doesn't make that V shape and points nicely upwards so that we can see it floating in the water when we're fishing. Start with looser wraps, and then they can get tighter and tighter as they go. There we go. A few more of these. Excellent. All right. So now we'll work our way back down the post. And then back to a couple in behind it and a couple in front of it just to really secure it down. Okay. Let me see if I've missed any chats. Oh no, we're good. Okay. And if I did miss a chat, I apologize. I don't really know where they go. After I see them pop up, and then if I don't see them right away, they kind of disappear. So don't feel shy about posting something twice. All right, so now we're going to trim our post down to size, so it's way too tall, and we only want it to stick up a little bit. So we're gonna give it a haircut, a flat top. Excellent. Okay, next step is we're gonna tie the tail in. Get our brown Antron here. And we just need less than an inch of that, about an inch of that. There it is. Let's tie it in. So go behind your post and pinch it down, and we'll just start wrapping our thread down the length of the tail all the way till you almost get to the bend of the hook, and then stop. You can work your thread back up nice and tight to secure it down. Logan, what's a good fly to start with if you've never tied one before? I think a lot of people's first fly is the woolly bugger, and that was my first fly I ever tied, and that's, you know, was at a like fly tying class or whatever. So maybe another time, if you guys are into that, we can tie the woolly bugger. And that is a fly that you could fish as a nymph. You could fish it as a streamer. So it's under the water, and it's a very effective pattern for bass, trout, and all kinds of fish. So it really works on a bunch of different fish year round. We're gonna trim our tail down a little bit. It's a little too long. We want it about the length of the hook. So we trim that down. Now we're going to go ahead and work our thread all the way up towards the front. Work around that post. There you go, till you get to almost the eye of the hook. And then we're gonna do, oh, here's the rest of our feather that we used. What's the hardest fly you've ever tied? the smaller the fly, the harder it is. So probably like a size 18, a version of this fly, and a size 18, which just means it's even smaller. That's just, it's hard to see. I don't know. It's like you need like little surgical type tools or something to get to it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and trim some of these little barbs down on this so that it's easier to stick. And we'll go ahead and tie this towards the eye of the hook. And I think most people that are tuned in right now are not actually big fly tiers themselves. And so I appreciate that we have a diverse crowd in the audience right now. This is for everybody, and I appreciate everybody here. Okay, so now that we have this tied in, we're going to just work our thread all the way back down, keeping our feather free of that. Work your thread all the way back down, because the next step we're going to do is the dubbing for the body of this fly. All right, we're almost down to the beginning. There we go. So first thing is a little dubbing wax on your thread to help the dubbing stick. Just a little bit. And let's do a different color dubbing on this one. So the last one, we did a brown. Yeah, I agree. Small dries are hard. Yep. The smaller, the harder. I mean, some people tie in like a size 22. I don't even know how. Yeah, that's wild to me. Okay, so this dubbing has some flash in it. So it's got some shiny stuff. That's what flash is. And just a teeny little bit we're going to use. We can always add more. So tiny little fluff. We're going to put it on our thread and our index finger and thumb to twist it onto the thread till it's kind of nice and tight around there. And then slide it all the way up. There we go. And now we'll wrap that around the fly, making the body. And if you can, you want it to be thinner towards the tail and thicker as you work your way up. Okay, so in this case, I ran out of dubbing, so I'm actually going to repeat. Get a little more dubbing wax, just a little bit, and a tiny bit more dubbing. There it is. And this might be too much, but that's okay. We'll just pull off what we don't use. In fact, I'm just gonna take half of that because I can already tell that's double what I need. All right, so we'll twist this on. There we go. Slide it all the way up towards the top. And we'll wrap it around. Work around the post. Might give it one on each side of the post. Okay. That's it. Now our thread is towards the eye of the hook, and the last step is we're gonna wrap our feather around there, our hackle. So again, if I'm wrapping my thread this way, ideally we're gonna reverse the opposite way with the feather, and that's just gonna help. When we finish it, it's gonna lock it in place. So this is a very small, fine feather, so I'm gonna give it a bunch of wraps, like at least 5. Okay, one more and we're gonna tie it off. Actually, one more. Now we're gonna tie it off. So I'll hold my feather up towards the sky and use my thread to wrap it around it like 3 times, and then I'm gonna really wrench it down. Okay, so give it a little tension here. Great. A few more tight wraps, as tight as you can get it without breaking your thread. And now we'll cut this last bit off. There it is. Okay, time to finish this fly. So just go ahead to finish it off. We're just gonna give it 1 or 2 more really tight wraps. and use our whip finishing tool that I poorly demonstrated earlier. And you're gonna whip finish it about 4 times. Nice and tight. There we go. Trim the thread off. If you get a couple little hackle fibers in the way towards the eye as you were finishing it off, no big deal. Cut them out of there. And then we'll use a teeny tiny dab of this head cement to just go ahead, finish it off just a tiny little bit, because it is a dry fly. We don't want it to sink. There we go. Pull off any little loose bits in the way. Okay, and let me show you guys this finished fly. Just a tiny bit smaller than the previous one. You can barely even tell. And it's a slightly different color as well. So here's with the dark background and a light background. So there you have it. Couple of March brown patterns here. Getting ready for April, just around the corner, to do some fly fishing for some dry flies. These will also work on lakes, but definitely intended for your rivers, your western rivers. We're here in Washington, but this is gonna work from California to Washington, you know, Canada and Alaska, of course, too. Montana, Idaho, all the western states. So please join us in the future. Join me in the future for more exciting content. I appreciate you guys subscribing to Fungi on the Fly, doing all kinds of fly fishing, mushroom foraging, hiking, backpacking, pack rafting, shed hunting, etc., etc. Good times to be had. So I think I'm just gonna wrap up this little first ever live stream video, and hopefully I'm gonna see you guys again. Excellent, thank you, excellent indeed. So I'm gonna see you guys in the future, and I'm gonna keep you updated in terms of the t-shirts and the hats that are in the works. So cheers, everybody. Oh, missed a chance here to say tie this all up. Yes. Missed opportunity. So I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for tuning in to a live stream tonight. We'll do more of these, so can't wait to the next one. See you guys. Thank you so much. I don't know how to end this thing, so we're gonna just figure it out. All right, good night, everybody. Oh, we're gonna do a late night one. Oh, it's getting wild up in here. All right, let me see if I can figure this. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Cheers, cheers with beers. Man, somebody's got to Google this for me. I appreciate you too. Somebody's got to Google how to end this thing for me. Because this is on my phone. I can't even Google it. Show the dog. Oh, here we go. It says, are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes. All right, I think I figured it out. Good night, everybody.